Welcome back to the Sticky Man boys. Really appreciate you clicking on the video. I'm looking forward to making it. I'm going to be ranking every single Far Cry game apart from the console exclusives because I don't want to put myself through that torture. Everyone knows the console exclusives are not very good, so why no point ranking them, okay? But I think this is going to be really interesting. I think there's 9 games I'm ranking today, so hey, we should probably just get straight into it. Sit back, relax, get some popcorn, you know, eat your dinner, make a cup of tea, have some alcohol if you really need it. I don't recommend doing that, but hey, if it is your thing, then do it. Go ahead, make a whiskey or something. I don't really care. Just enjoy the video, you know what I mean? Do what you need to do to enjoy my content. I really appreciate that. Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to do S tier up to like F tier or something like that. Whatever I decide's the lowest tier, because there's going to be some stinkers on here. But let's start with Far Cry 1. Far Cry 1 is easily the most interesting game I'm going to be ranking today because it's the most unique Far Cry game out of all of them, and I mean that, all of them. This was the only Far Cry game to be developed by Crytek. Crytek are the guys that made Crysis. Yes, Crysis, that Crysis game that was infamous for being super difficult to run back in 2007 or whenever it released. But this was the first Far Cry game, and it was the only Far Cry game to be developed by them, and you can really tell. Far Cry 1 is really interesting from a gameplay standpoint, a story standpoint, and world design standpoint. This is not an open world Far Cry game. I mean, it's technically open world, but it's not technically open world. But bear with me. Let's start with the story first, actually. Let's start with that. So basically, Far Cry 1, you play as a guy that I can't remember because I don't remember his first name or last name. I think it's like Carver or something. Maybe that was Far Cry 2. And basically, you're on this island. You were stranded there and you have to get off. It's your basic Far Cry stuff. I mean, it's the original. This is what everything was based on. And that's about it for the story. The story is really not really worth talking about, okay? There's a reason for that. First off, voice acting is god-awful. This was 2005. Voice acting was not really taken too seriously at this point in time. Sure, there were some good voice actors at the time in gaming, but nowhere near quite as standard as today. Like, today, if there's a shit voice actor, they usually stand out in games because everyone else is really bloody good, you know what I mean?
Don't I scare you in the least?
So this was a weird one to really kind of plan out to talk about because there's not much to talk about at all. The story kind of evolves in a weird way for zombie type things to come out. Basically an infection takes over like a lab or something like that, and there's an outbreak and you have to go in, and there's these like weird zombie creatures that roam around the place and you have to kill them, and that's when the game gets difficult. But outside of that, the story is not worth talking about, so that's why I started with it, because it's just not. Yeah, it's a game. It's a game. It's not a story game. It's a game. Let's leave it at that. Secondly, the first thing that you're going to spot straight away is how the game looks, how it plays. It's very, very different. You can't aim down sights traditionally. There's no aim down sights traditionally at all. It just zooms into the side of the gun like some games did back in 2005 before Call of Duty really did change everything. And obviously it's dated. It's 2005. It's going to be dated. But surprisingly, a lot of the gameplay mechanics are present here that are still present in like games like Far Cry 6, and that kind of shows, you know, this was a really good foundation to build off, and it's actually the most interesting game out of all of them, like I've said. You have a bunch of different weapons that you can use. You've got SMGs, you've got pistols, you've got snipers, you've got rocket launchers, all your basic stuff, and you unlock them slowly over the course of the game. There's no like buyable areas from my experience. You find them on the map and you unlock them over, you know, specific scenarios where the weapon is needed, and you keep it, and then it appears again and again and again over the time of the game. But the main ones I was using was the pistol and the shotgun, because not the shotgun, the SMG, because it's just the easiest ones to use. Enemy, I'm gonna really surprise people when I say this. Enemy AI, honestly, is better in this game than it is in like games like Far Cry 6. I'm not even kidding. They're so good they shoot you through walls. It's cheating. We'll get to it. The AI overall for a 2005 game is really impressive. It really is impressive. Like, they surround you, they communicate, they spot you from miles away, which is a bit annoying, but hey, it adds to the realism. And they all react quite realistically to your actions, like killing your friend. Like, oh my god, they just killed my friend, I'm gonna go kill him. You know what I mean? They actually react, they care, they give a shit, and it's, you know, it's fun to explore and kill and kidnap. Not kidnap, you don't kidnap anyone, but I wish you could, because it's kind of fun to kidnap people. My FBI agent is all over me now. I shouldn't have said that. Oh no. Yeah, it's pretty sound. It's a pretty sound game. It's pretty fun to play despite its dated aspects. And like I said, it's the most interesting game out of them all. Now, there are a lot of issues with it, obviously. 2005. AI is really cheap. I just said that they're smart. They are smart, but they are way too smart. They're going to be shooting you through walls. They're going to be shooting you through tents. They're going to see you when you're behind cover, just by being behind cover. It can get very annoying. There was one mission in particular towards the start of the game where they really do cheese you, and I got killed like 10 times, and I really was considering quitting, but I didn't quit because I'm a G. I'm a sticky man, okay? I kept going, and that's what I did. But it gets really cheesy. It gets really annoying after a while, and it gets to a point where you're just like, I just kind of wish the game would end. So yeah, it's not perfect. It's the most interesting game to talk about, and because of how unique it is, I'm going to give it a bump up. But overall, for the foundation of Far Cry, and to see where Ubisoft took it afterwards, and to see how much they were inspired by the original, I've got to give it a solid B tier. I can't even lie to you. B tier for the first Far Cry game. I know some people will disagree with me on that, but I found it the most unique experience out of all of these games. I found it the most interesting. I found it the most mentally captivating, I guess, because it felt new. It didn't feel like anything else I'd ever played before, and this was the first time I ever played it. So, hey man, I enjoyed it. It's a B. It's a B tier despite its issues. Yeah, but what do you think? Have you played the original Far Cry? I imagine quite a few of you actually haven't played the original because it came out in 2005. Some of you probably weren't even born in 2005. You were probably born in 2010. That scares the shit out of me, I can't lie. But hey, there we go. Some people watching this video, they were born when Black Ops 1 came out, when Black Ops 2 came out. That's scary stuff, man. Scary stuff. Oh my god. Right, Far Cry 2. This is one of those games that within the community, people love it. Some say that it's better than Far Cry 3. A lot of people say it's the best Far Cry game out of them all. And it's very easy to see why. This game is very interesting. Not as interesting as the first, because it does play similarly to Far Cry 3 and 4 and all that, but it definitely is the most interesting out of the traditional Far Cry formula. This was where it really started for Ubisoft with how they do their open world stuff. This is an open world game, a full-on open world game. There's no loading screens or anything like that to cut you off or anything like that. It's a proper open world game, and you can feel it. Ubisoft decided to take Far Cry down a more survival route. So in this game, you're actually walking around with a disease, and you've got a timer basically where you have to keep yourself healthy while going on and doing all your missions. And they also don't hold your hand. Everything that you're going to learn within the first hour of the game, you've got to remember, because they're not going to explain it again. They refuse to explain it again. If you don't remember it, you're going to be on Google, okay? That's how how much survival aspects are in the game, you know what I mean? But yeah, overall, it's not like so different to other Far Cry games, but it's just the survival aspects that really separate it from the crowd, you know what I mean? So you're actually an agent, and you're sent to like stop these two groups fighting, and over the course of the game you're going to be making decisions, deciding which group you're going to go for, and the main villain gets honestly quite a bit of time to really flesh him out, which was really interesting. But the point is, as a player, you're going to be fighting between these two groups and trying to decide who you're going to side with, and that was really interesting to me. And you do this quite naturally. The game gives you multiple missions over the course of the game where you have to choose which objective you're going to do. So there's usually like one objective and there's two ways to do it, and whichever way you choose to do it, you will end up siding with the specific faction with the way you choose to take on the mission, which was actually really cool. It was quite interesting. It was a much better way to do it than what they did with Far Cry 3, where they make it very black and white. So that was actually a downgrade for Far Cry 3. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk about Far Cry 2. But yeah, but let's talk about gameplay. Far Cry 2's gameplay is pretty hard to like score, because it's different to the next couple Far Cry games, but it's also very similar. It depends what you want from a Far Cry game, okay? Far Cry 3 is like a blockbuster action movie, whereas Far Cry 2 is more like more like a brutal passion project, I guess. It's a hard way to put it. But a lot of mechanics that are present in Far Cry 3 aren't here. Stealth, by the way, in Far Cry 2, completely useless. I do not recommend you using stealth at all, because it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's never going to work, so just going guns blazing. Gun variety is actually really good. You've got assault rifles, pistols, special kinds of pistols, shotguns, snipers, LMGs, the lot. And I'm not going to go over it every time I talk about a new Far Cry game. You know what's in the Far Cry game. And you unlock those by doing side missions. There is side content, but the side content isn't great. There's usually a truck that appears out of nowhere after you take the mission, then you go take out the truck, and then they give you weapons. That's pretty much what you do. And the only other form of currency is these diamonds that you have to find over the map, or you get rewarded them for doing missions, which was a little tedious, I can't lie, which is a good point to talk about the open world. The open world is probably the most interesting part of the entire game. It is weirdly immersive. It's definitely the most immersive Far Cry you could play. Absolutely. Your map is in-game, so you whip out your map during your car, or you use your GPS on your car. There's no like traditional UI menu where you click M or, you know, what is it, back button on controllers, and it brings up a map and you can see everything. Now on this game, you're gonna have a map in front of your face. You're constantly looking down. The game never pauses. You've got to be watching out while you're looking at your map, and that's really immersive and really cool. And then obviously you have a GPS in your car that you can use to access your map without having to pull it up, which is also cool. And it adds so much to the immersion factor. Add on top of that with the disease that you've got, that you have to constantly make sure you've got pills to make sure you don't die from it, is also just adding that tension factor that a lot of Far Cry games are missing, that difficulty aspect that a lot of Far Cry games are missing, unfortunately. And that is one of the reasons I liked it as much as I did. But it is tedious. That the disease that you have to constantly go back to your doctors for to get painkillers or whatever disease stopper, whatever you want to call it. I'm not a doctor. Whatever that is, that gets tedious because you have to constantly drive back, and then you have to drive to your mission, then you have to drive back again. It does get tedious, and plus a lot of the missions are spread out across the map, and there's no fast travel option. I mean, there is, but you have to go to a bus stop to catch a bus to go to a specific part of the map, not to where you actually need to go. It will drop you off at a bus stop, and then you have to drive to the next objective. That is where the game does not age very well, because people want their time respected. They don't want to be forced to travel 20 minutes just because you want to indulge in an open world, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's nice to have that choice, but that's the thing, it's a choice. Like in Spider-Man 2 now, everyone's complaining about fast travel being in the game. Why are you complaining? It's an option, you don't have to use it. Whereas in Far Cry 2, you pretty much are out of luck if you want fast travel, because you're going to be driving to a bus stop. That's going to take like 10 minutes. Then you've got to get on the bus, and then it will fast travel you. Then you have to get off the bus, then drive another 10 minutes to your actual objective. It just gets tedious after a while. So overall, Far Cry 2 is a really solid game. Probably controversial as well where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to give it an A tier, okay? It's not S tier for me, it's an A tier game. Not many games are going to get S tier today, because Far Cry games are good, they're good games, but when I say S tier, I want the perfect Far Cry game. You already know what's coming next. Let's talk about Far Cry 3. My god, okay, what can I say that hasn't been said about Far Cry 3? It is obviously the most popular Far Cry game. It's the game that gets all the love online. It has a great story with a great villain. Vaas is a fucking terrific villain. He's obviously one of the most famous gaming villains of all time. Everyone knows who Vaas is. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. Go on, everyone could quote it. It's great. It's a great line. It's really well written, I think. There are a lot of issues with it, but it's still well written, in my opinion. And Vaas, obviously, he's just the takeaway. He's just the takeaway. Vaas kind of holds this whole game together. It gives you a reason to do the open world activities. He gets the story going. It's just a shame that he isn't in the game very much. We'll talk spoilers now. We'll talk spoilers, okay? So Far Cry 3, you play as a guy called Jason. He's with his friends. You know, he's a typical white American dude, and they get dropped on the island because they messed up. They trusted the wrong person, that person set them up, and now Vaas has them. Vaas is not a nice guy. He'll shoot you for insulting his sister. He'll shoot you for giving him a haircut, okay? He's that kind of guy. He'll set you on fire just for the fun of it. That is who Vaas is, and I love it. I love it. And Jason, over the course of the game, has to basically save his friends, because all of his friends get kidnapped, and then you have to save them, and then Jason kind of just goes nuts because you're killing everyone, and then he just decides, you know, I'm going to stay on the island, and I'm going to shoot everything. You know what I mean? That's kind of how the story goes. It's not the most in-depth story, but it's the most interesting story out of all the Far Cry games, because of what it does for you as a player. Basically, their goal with Far Cry 3's story was to make you feel like Jason. Sounds basic, right? Well, it's just the way they do it. At the start of the game, you haven't killed anyone. You're worried about it. You're trying to figure out where you are. You're lost on this island. You don't know what you're doing. And Jason is finally starting to take action, you know, killing animals, skinning animals, killing people, you know what I mean? And the game just makes it very clear to you that Jason does not like doing this. And then over the course of the game, he gets more and more comfortable with it, slowly starting to enjoy it, and you're enjoying it because you're playing a game. So you got this connection with Jason, which makes the story a lot more immersive, a lot more interesting to play through, because you're there too. You're kind of trying to balance your morality as well. Murdering people towards the end of the game, oh no, what am I doing? Oh my god, what am I doing? You know what I mean? It's an interesting story, and I like what they did with it. Unfortunately, Vaas is kind of wasted. He isn't in the game that much, but the scenes he gets are incredible. They're really well done. But yeah, what's his name? He's the guy from Breaking Bad. He also plays Scorpion in the Marvel films, even though he's not in them that much. But basically, the actor that played Vaas did a really good job. I wish I could have seen more of him. You do get more of him in the Far Cry 6 DLC, but it's just not really worth talking about. But he is wasted because he gets replaced by another villain called Hoyt, and Hoyt is nowhere near as interesting, and it's really disappointing to have to play the final like 10 hours with Hoyt rather than Vaas. But hey, it is what it is. Overall, it's a great story. Let's get to gameplay. So first off, the open world. Oh, mate, the open world is just so ridiculously beautiful, man. It's still, to this day, it is incredible to look at, despite some of the technical issues. You know, looking at the sea and the sharks are in there, they're chilling, you have to go kill sharks, and you're just looking at it, it's like, I don't want to kill a shark, I just want to stare at the sea, man. Then you turn around, you got all these trees and green, and you're just like, oh my god, what's in those trees, man? Let's go in, only to get mauled by a bear because you're too much of an idiot to bring a shotgun, and you've only got a pistol, and you've gone on the wrong path, and you haven't done the story. Yeah, it happened to me a few times. Pissed me off. But yeah, open world is great, I think. Not as good as like something like Red Dead Redemption 2 or anything, because you can't really interact with anyone that much. But it's still really fun to explore. There's plenty of side content as well. All of it's, you know, typical Ubisoft stuff. But there is a couple things that I do enjoy, like the assassination missions, which is basically first-person Assassin's Creed, first-person Far Cry, that's kind of obvious, but those missions are the side missions. You go out, you kill people, and you make money from it, and you can unlock weapons from radio towers and stuff like that. That is the most tedious part of Far Cry 3 today, is the towers. You know, over the last couple of years, towers have been wiped out. No one wants to do them. It gets boring. Yes, I'm climbing a tower. Oh, look, the world is really nice to look at. Who cares? I've just spent the last 10 minutes climbing this thing just to unlock a slight portion of the map. Disgusting. Disgusting. Don't do it anymore. Get rid of it. Assassin's Creed Mirage, you get a pass because you're going back to roots, okay? But yeah, open world, great. The ecosystem of having to hunt animals to upgrade your syringes, your weapon holsters, etc. I loved it. I don't know why they got rid of it. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the whole game, and it's the one thing most people were not complaining about with the newer Far Cry games, because it was just an enjoyable aspect. You know, it felt natural, it felt immersive. You know, it made sense in a way. And unfortunately they got rid of it, and it's one of my favourite parts. I loved it. I love doing that. Gameplay wise, yeah, it's really solid. Stealth is better, even though the AI is a bit shit. The action plays better, the set pieces are better, the level design is level design is okay. It's okay. It's not great. It's not a great level design like moment. You're never going to play a level which blows you away like Titanfall 2 or Dishonored 2 or anything like that. But the level design it's better than Far Cry 1, and it's better than Far Cry 2, I think anyway. But that's because it gives you more options. You've got loads of weapons. Obviously, I'm not going to say them all again, but you've got different options. You've got customization options, sights, camos, craftable weapons, throwing knives, grenades, molotovs, etc, etc. Those were in Far Cry 2, but it was more present in Far Cry 3 for me. So just the sheer variety is just so expansive and so clearly above the last two games, where you can't help but, you know, accept that, yeah, everyone kind of knows Far Cry 3 was like the big game that set it off. A lot of people were disappointed they got rid of the survival aspects of Far Cry 2, but you know, when Ubisoft is aiming for a casual audience and not a niche audience like Far Cry 2 was, you know, there are sacrifices that need to be made, and I think overall it worked out. I think it worked out, not in the future because they didn't do anything after this, but Far Cry 3, just without a doubt, is like top tier stuff. It gets an S tier. It gets an S tier. I know it's a bit basic to give it an S tier, but I still think it's the most solid Far Cry game. I think it has the best gameplay loop. None of the Far Cry games have topped its gameplay loop so far. And just as an overall package, especially today when you can get it for like £5 on PC, it's just a banger. It's just an S tier game. You're not going to have a bad time unless you hate first person shooters. You know what I mean? So yeah, overall, S tier. Loved it. Always probably will love it unless I grow out of it. I probably will at some point, but not this time. I really enjoyed it very much. I'm going to take a break for a second because I've been talking for the last, I don't know how long, let's have a look, 25 minutes, and that's just 3 games. I've got plenty more games to do. Bear with me. Oh. Far Cry 4 is a weird one. I enjoy it. I enjoy what they do, especially with Pagan Min. Pagan Min, it didn't really work for me back in 2014, but replaying it over and over again over the last like 2 years, Pagan Min really grew on me. I like what Troy Baker does with his character, but he's very clearly trying to fill the shoes of Vaas, and that does take away from the story and the writing and, you know, the immersive factor, because you can just tell, like, yeah, this guy's meant to be Vaas again. Like, yeah, It's a no-brainer. Plus, Far Cry 4 does basically nothing to improve upon Far Cry 3. It is the exact same game. The exact same game. Same mechanics, same AI, same game, like, design. Like, the whole thing is the same. It's hard to explain. The map, obviously, it's different. It's set in the Himalayas this time, so you can go up to mountains and all that, but they don't do anything with it apart from like 1 or 2 missions where you have to go up to high altitudes and you have like this mask on and you're gonna freeze to death or anything like that. They don't do anything with it. It's the same game, which is really disappointing. It's hard to talk about. Like, I guess I could start with the story. The story, yeah, it's fine. It's not as good as Far Cry 3. It loses that immersive factor for me. But Pagan Min obviously is a standout. Pagan, like I just said a minute ago, Pagan Min is a great villain. But it's just so obvious that he's filling in for Vaas. That's all he's doing, and he does get to stay till the end of the game. Obviously, the different endings are actually really cool as well. But like as an overall package, I don't really want to talk about it too much because it really is just Far Cry 3 with a different coat of paint. It really is that, and I don't like using that term, different coat of paint, for like many games, but here for Far Cry 4, that is what it is. That is literally what it is, and they charge full price for it. I can't believe it. Like on replay, I enjoyed it. I like Far Cry 3, so I'm going to like Far Cry 4 if it's the same game just with a different coat of paint. But it still just nags in the back of your head, like, I've already played this. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Why did they make this? What was the creative vision behind it? What was the goal? What was so different about it that it had to be made? You know what I mean? But, you know, it was obviously made for money because Ubisoft needs money all the time. So, I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's the exact same game. I'm probably going to give it a C tier. I'm going to give it a B tier, actually. I was going to give it C, but I changed my mind. I'm going to give it B because as an overall package, it's not very buggy. It does what it needs to do. It gets the job done, and it could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse, and we'll get to that. Trust me, there's a couple games on here that is a lot worse. But what it does well, but I just wanted more from it. And I think Pagan Min would be much more interesting to bring back than someone like Vaas. As much as I want Vaas to appear again, like in an actual mainline entry, which probably won't happen for obvious reasons. What are they going to do? Oh, I'm insane, blah, 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 blah. Whereas Pagan Min, you can really delve deep into that character, and I just want to see more of it. Plus, you can get Troy Baker back. Troy Baker is in everything now. It does get pretty annoying. Oh, Troy Baker's in it. Oh, what a surprise. Let me guess, he's going to talk like Troy Baker, but he doesn't, you know. Troy Baker does bring everything to pretty much every role he does. I mean, fuck me, he played Pain in Naruto, like Pain. That Pain, you know, one of the best villains in Naruto. Yeah, like, come on, the guy is talented. Just bring him back for Pagan Min, Ubisoft. Just do it. It's worth the money. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a B tier because it's fine. It's a fine game that takes aspects of Far Cry 3, well, all of the aspects of Far Cry 3, and just plops it into another game. That's why it's not getting S tier. It would get S tier if they actually did something different, but they didn't. And that's going to be a recurring theme for the rest of these games. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's just skipped over Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That is despicable. I'm going to click off the video. Disgusting behavior. I haven't skipped over it. I chose to do Far Cry 4 first because Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is the perfect example of what Far Cry 4 could have done that they didn't do. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a DLC to Far Cry 3, but I'm going to count it as its own game because it's that good. Is it very similar to Far Cry 3? Yes. Does it play the exact same as Far Cry 3? In a lot of ways, yes. In a lot of ways, yes. But it does something so unique and has never been done with Far Cry ever since. They chose to go absolutely apeshit with how they chose to do the world and the setting and just the fun aspects of it. They took everything Far Cry 3 did and ramped it up to fucking 1,000. It's over 9,000. Dragon Ball meme. You're welcome. What they did was make an 80s love fest. That's what they did. Blood Dragon, you play as Rex, voiced by the guy from Aliens and Terminator. Yeah, that guy. That's his face right there. Where that side? Yes, his face. This guy. Remember him? He's in 2 of the most popular films ever made, and then he disappeared off the face of the earth and then did this game. Whew. What a choice, man. What a choice. Oh my god. You play as a Rex, and your goal is to take out this like dictator set in this like tyranny aspect island that is surrounded by these weird dragon-like creatures like dinosaurs, blood dinosaurs. It's fucking awesome, man. It's hard to explain. It's that cool. And basically, it's Far Cry 3, but just so much more fun, so much more interesting, okay? Right away, I'm just gonna say it, S tier. It gets S tier, but let's talk about it. So first off, they take all the weapons from Far Cry 3 and add it into Blood Dragon. Obviously, it's DLC, but they add different skins to them. They added different sound effects. The sound design's really cool. And overall, it's just a more interesting experience. Does it lose enemy variety? No. It basically takes everything Far Cry 3 did and added it into Blood Dragon, but made it more interesting. This time you're going to be firing laser weapons, while your main character just drops one-liners every 5 seconds that are actually really cool and cheesy and just fun to hear, and it just keeps you going and going and going. But basically what you're going to be doing in this game is running around the island, liberating these areas, taking down these dragon dinosaur things, which is really cool, and just wiping out enemy bases while the story continues. And the story is told in these like really weird retro aspect like cutscenes. It's so cool. It's hard to explain, but you just gotta play it. You gotta experience it. It's so fun. It is very short, and obviously it is a DLC, so it's not as long as Far Cry 3. It's not as long as Far Cry 4. It didn't get quite the same budget or anything like that. But what they did with it was just so creative and so unique and just so different that everyone to this day is asking for a Blood Dragon 2. And Ubisoft, if you want to print money, if you want to make your next Far Cry game super successful, just make a full-blown sequel to Far Cry Blood Dragon. Blood Dragon 2, The Return of the Dragon Blood, or some shit. Doesn't matter. You can go absolutely apeshit because it's based on the 80s. The 80s, you were doing everything. Action movies were doing all this crazy stuff like Escape from New York, Aliens, Predator. You could just involve all of it. You could have Predators in there, you could get aliens in there, you could do whatever you fucking wanted to make it the most unique Far Cry experience. Yes, would it cost a lot of money to get the rights? Absolutely. But you'd be printing money bags everywhere, just your bank accounts. It's that fucking good and that creative and that limitless. That is really irritating that they're not making another game. Whew. Calm down, Jack. Calm down. Get your thoughts together. No one wants to listen to you ramble. I know, sorry, bear with me. But yes, Blood Dragon is just a really solid DLC, and I'm very biased. I want to make that clear. I'm very biased. It is my favorite Far Cry game. I go back to it all the time. It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's just fun. You don't need these super deep stories. In fact, we need more 80s-esque films and TV shows and movies. Not like Stranger Things, where it's like nostalgia and all that, and they just use aspects. No, I'm talking about going fully 80s cheese. Just make it. This is a cry for help. Movies, go 80s cheese. TV shows, go 80s cheese. Games, go 80s cheese. That is the most fun entertainment has ever been, because everyone wants to be super grounded and, you know, really dramatic, because they want the Oscars and they want the Game of the Year awards, and fuck off. Just make a game fun. People will happily spend £70 on a game if it's fun. Just stop trying to be more than you are. Just make a fun fucking game. Anyway, S tier for Blood Dragon. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because there's not much to talk about. I already mentioned it in Far Cry 3, but it's just way more fun here, and it is my favourite Far Cry game. It takes the spot from Far Cry 3. S tier. Bang. Bing bang bosh. Okay, fuck me. Hang on. This video is very long. I'm going to sit down. Oh, okay. Now we're going to talk about Far Cry Primal, okay? The reason I sat down for this is, one, I'm tired because I've been filming for about an hour long. I'm going to have cut the Blood Dragon thing way down. I've been talking about it for too long. But Primal is easily the most bleh Far Cry game, and it's really weird because this game is actually also very unique. But yeah, they decided to set a Far Cry game in 10,000 BC or whenever it is in this game. I don't really care too much. So basically, they just wanted to make a Far Cry game that was very different, which it is in theory it is anyway. Let's talk about it as a game, right? This is supposed to be like one of the most unique Far Cry games you can ever play. I mean, it's set in 10,000 BC. There's no guns, there's nothing. But they managed to make it exactly the same, once again, as Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. Even worse this time, they reused the Far Cry 4 map. They reused it. That's just the epitome of lazy. Epitome of lazy. What the fuck, Ubisoft? But what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing what you did in Far Cry 3 and 4, except this time you're going to have a bow, and you're going to have rocks, and you're going to have spears. That is the game. That's it. That is the game. There is nothing to talk about. Now, I know there are actually a few people that actually quite like Far Cry Primal because it did do something different, and it did. I will happily admit that, but on paper, it looks really different, but in an actual practical sense, it's the exact same game over and over again. It's the same thing. You go to an area, you stab people, you throw spears, you throw rocks, you collect berries, because everyone loves collecting berries, right? So it's kind of just a lazy kind of cash grab, to be honest with you. I can't even believe that I even sat through most of the game. I couldn't believe it. And that was like 2 years ago. That's when I played. This time around, I only played for like 2 hours because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't sit through it again. I couldn't do it. It's too slow. There's nothing to it. The upgrade system is basic as hell. There's nothing to it. There's no meat. There's nothing. It's just really fucking annoying, and I don't want to play it anymore. Far Cry Primal, you're getting an F tier or a D tier. Whatever the lowest tier I've got on here, it's going there, okay? It should be on the screen now because I don't want to talk about it. It's a boring game. I don't like it. If you like it, more power to you. I'm happy you liked it, but for me, I want more from my Far Cry games, okay? I want some innovation at this point. We're at Far Cry Primal, which is like Far Cry 5 or... Wait, Far Cry 1, Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon 4. Yeah, Far Cry 6, basically. It's Far Cry 6. I'm ignoring the console exclusives as well because, as I said, I don't want to play them because they're just as bad. But yeah, we're at 6 Far Cry games now, and they haven't changed anything since Far Cry 3. So, did Far Cry 5 finally change? Let's find out. Far Cry 5 definitely feels different from the previous entries, okay? You could just... Everything just feels a little bit more weighty, I guess. Weapons feel different. There's actual recoil to the weapons. The world is obviously different, set in America, well, the outskirts of America where a religious cult takes over everything. That was an interesting aspect. But at the end of the day, it is just more Far Cry. Thank God they got rid of the tower aspect. There's no more towers that you have to climb to unlock the map. You explore the map and the map just shows you more information as you explore it, which I like a lot. But once again, as a Far Cry player that has played all of them at this point, apart from the console exclusives, because I've already played them once, it's just such a bleh. It's just bleh. All these games are just bleh. I will give it to Far Cry 5. They definitely tried to make it different this time around. First off, you've got air vehicles now, so you can fly planes, helicopters. Well, you could do that in Far Cry 4, but not the planes, which was a good addition. I found that quite enjoyable, but they're only added because the map is so ridiculously huge that it gets boring to explore, especially on foot. And it still follows the same gameplay, what's the word? I guess philosophy is probably not the best word for it, but the game still plays very similar to Far Cry 3. The same missions, the same ideas behind it, the same content, the same objectives. It's all the same. It's all the same. And then making the map bigger just adds bloat to it, which is just not as enjoyable. But let's talk about the story. So obviously Joseph Seed, every Far Cry game has got to have this big bad villain now, which is fine. It's fair enough. I get it. They want to repeat the success of Far Cry 3. And Joseph Seed as a villain, yeah, he's interesting. But how many times have we seen this whole religious cult thing? Basically, Joseph Seed is the head of some religious cult that believes the end of the world is coming and that everyone's sinners and they have to repent for their sins. You know, the usual stick when it comes to religious stuff that is for some reason not offensive to Christians or whatever, but hey, you know, that's just me. I don't give a shit. I'm atheist. I don't know where I'm going when I die, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, the idea behind it, yeah, it's an easy bet. Religious cult, America, easy, bing bash bosh. But as a villain overall, his voice actor, whoever he is, there's too many names to list for every single game, I'm sorry, but the voice actor that played Joseph Seed did really well. But at the end of the day, he's just another crazy villain that believes in something that is ridiculous, but at the same time actually becomes true depending on your ending, which is also quite cool. But it's just not as interesting as something like Far Cry 3, where Vass is obviously a big bad, but there's elements to his character there where you can be empathetic, where you can understand his viewpoint. You can understand why he's this crazy person. Same with Pagan Min. You can understand why he feels bitter about his son basically ditching him and his wife ditching him, and then he just wants to do what's best for them, in his head anyway. But then you get Joseph Seed, where, you know, he's just a crazy religious guy. He has no reason to really give a shit about your character. You have no reason to give a shit about him. You're just there to kill him, which is, you know, But over the course of the game, you're going to be going to different areas on the map, taking out villains, the main villains, side villains to the main villain, like Faith, who uses drugs to, you know, trick you and make you like visions and stuff like that. And then you got the other white guy that isn't as interesting. He's just like a really he's basically a bitch. He basically does what everything Joseph tells him to do, and then you kill him, and then you go around, you kill another person, and then that's the game. That's the entire game, and the story doesn't really go anywhere. Your protagonist doesn't speak, so there's no these weird cutscene moments where they just stare at you having these monologues, and you're just like, my character should really speak at this point. Like, if you're gonna write something like this, at least make the protagonist speak. This is not an RPG. Stop trying to be an RPG, Ubisoft. We'll get to it. But yeah, overall, I guess they tried something different, but for me, it didn't work at all. Gameplay wise, you know, you're still playing the same game. You got different weapons, pistols, shotguns, snipers. This is the problem. Far Cry 3, even Far Cry 2, in a lot of ways, kind of just nailed the formula when it comes to gameplay. All they have to do is add on top of it, or just go completely apeshit and do something completely different, reinvent the franchise. Because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to be repeating yourself, and you're going to be playing the same game like I'm doing now. I'm sure it's getting pretty annoying for you, because I am repeating myself, because that's all I can do when talking about these games, which is the thing I was worried the most about ranking about all of them, because once you get to this point, you're kind of repeating yourself. But yeah, Far Cry 5 does the same things as Far Cry 4 and 3, just with different weapons, different customization options, and more additional microtransactions, because that's when Ubisoft really started to push it. But as an overall package, is it worth full price? Is it a good Far Cry game? Yeah, it's a good Far Cry game. If you want more Far Cry, you're going to get more Far Cry from it. But for me, like I said, I just want innovation. I want the franchise to really go back and kind of figure out what they didn't do with the original games and do that, rather than building on what they've already done. You know what I mean? You know, we gave them the benefit of the doubt. We said, you know what, yeah, keep making these games. You know, the foundation's good, but it's going to get to a point where you're going to have to switch it up. And they just never did. They just never did. So Far Cry 5, I'm going to give it, I don't know what I'm going to give it. It's such a boring game. I'm going to give it C tier. It's not quite B tier. I think C tier is completely fair. I think it's completely fair for Far Cry 5. Now we've got to get to the next game, which I'm also not going to talk very much about. Far Cry New Dawn is shit. It is shockingly shit. It is terrible. Why this game was released for full price, I do not know. The villains are shit. There's these two twins that are just, haha, I'm a villain. I'm gonna shoot you because you said something to me. Haha. What happened? Why are they the villains? They're so shit. Who's gonna find them intimidating? Who found them intimidating? I didn't find them intimidating. They're shit. They're terrible. They're terrible. What happened? What happened? I don't get. I'm going insane, man. I don't get it. But yeah, this is a DLC basically to Far Cry 5, sold as a full price game, because of course it was. Well, I don't know if it was full price. I think it was like half, like £30 or something like that. Either way, too expensive for this piece of shit. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing in the same map as Far Cry 5, just like Far Cry Primal we did with Far Cry 4, except it's worse here. And you'll be taking over different bases again, and then you're going to do main missions, and you have to build your base, and with different crafting materials, because you have to craft weapons and stuff now. And that's it. Yeah, that really is it. It's Far Cry 5. It's Far Cry 5. That's what it is. Just with a different story and different villains that are really shit, even worse than Joseph Seed. And yeah, that's it. The crafting's cool. The crafting is cool, but I don't want to be crafting in like 24/7 in a Far Cry game. That was a specific section for crafting in Far Cry 3 and 4. I don't want to be crafting the entire time. You know what I mean? I want to have some fun. But yeah, the main mechanic that was different here is that you get to build a base. Woo! Build a base building. Woo! Woo! And it's completely pointless. It doesn't offer any new gameplay mechanics to you for building your base. They basically just rip out loads of stuff that was in Far Cry 3, 4, and 5, and then added it in as an upgrade for you building your base. And it's just get fucked. You're wasting my time. You're not respecting my time. It's getting an F tier, D tier. That's all I want to say about it. I think it's terrible. If you like it, fair play to you. But for me, fuck off. Rip off. Disgusting behavior, Ubisoft. Never, ever do it again. Ever. Don't ever do it again. Scum. Absolute scum. Mirage is how you do a great DLC. Because that's what this was trying to be. It sucks. Sorry if you like it, you know what I mean? But Sticky Man's got to stick to his opinions, and that's what I'm going to do. Also, thank you to everyone that's commenting on the previous ranking videos and the other video I made on Assassin's Creed. Your comments have all been really nice, apart from one or two, which are constructive, which I appreciate that too. So yeah, just leave your comments down below if you agree or disagree. If you think anything could be changed in the content, please let me know. I'd really appreciate that. And for the green screen, I know it glitches out every now and then. I know if there's new viewers, I'm sorry I'm rambling, but if the green screen glitches out, it's a fake green screen, man. It's on my GPU. So if you want a proper green screen for the Sticky Man, you can, you know, drop a super thanks or something. That's my way of begging for money, because this channel is not making any money. Yeah, okay, cheers. Anyway, let's get into it. And finally, Far Cry 6. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we got to the end. I'm not going to talk about the DLCs because they're also pretty shit. The only one that I liked is the Vast DLC. That's the only one I played. I made a review on my old channel. Well, not my old channel, my first channel. This is my second channel. So I guess I'll link it below if you want to watch it. But, you know, the video's kind of boring, I can't lie. But the point is, Far Cry 6 is also just Far Cry 3. Yep, you already knew it was coming. I'm gonna make it quick. So Far Cry 6, they brought in Gus Fring, you know, the popular actor with a really great voice. Yeah, they brought in Gus. That's what they did. And he's the main villain, and he has a son, and his son is feeling iffy about being the son of a villain, blah, blah, blah. And you play as, I think it was Dana? Doesn't matter. You can choose your gender for whatever character you want to play. Big whoop, who cares? Both are voice acted, by the way. They did that, which was actually quite good. And you go into this world, and you liberate places, and you liberate places, and you liberate places. You pop a silencer on your assault rifle, and then you beat the game. It's that easy. It's that bad. AI, dog shit. Terrible AI. Probably the worst AI on a Far Cry game since Far Cry. Wow. I actually think it's the worst Far Cry AI. Now that I think about it. Yeah, it has the worst AI, and there's no Far Cry game worse than this one. Holy shit. That's bad. That's bad. Oh my god. But yeah, you're gonna be doing the exact same thing, exploring a world. You're gonna meet different characters that are all just, you know, oh goofy. Oh, I'm a freedom fighter and I kill people, but I'm gonna have a big fucking laugh over it. Wait, fuck's sake, Ubisoft. And overall, it's just a really disappointing game. I'm going to be really negative now. I don't like being negative in my final, like, ranking bits, because obviously no one wants to finish a video with a bad taste in their mouth. But the reality is, Far Cry 6 is one of the worst Far Cry games they've made. They didn't improve on anything. It bloated everything. The world is too big for what it wants to be. It's too long. That's for damn sure. It's too long. They take out skills from previous games once again, and they make you unlock them again without adding anything particularly new. They add the same weapons, the flamethrower, the bow, the special sniper, you know, all the usual stuff, and they just don't improve on anything. And the game is easy as hell, even on the hardest difficulty. Is there a hardest difficulty? Basically, as you go through the game and you get closer to the main villain, the map is ranked. So the max rank is rank 10, and that's where it's supposed to be the hardest it ever is. All you need to do is pop a silencer on your gun and just headshot people. It's fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. The only new thing they added is that you can ride horses. That is literally the only new thing they added. Everything else is copy and paste once again. And I guess this time your protagonist speaks. Well, hey, I guess. It's so bad. It's so bad. Listen, guys, as I just said, I don't like being negative, but I've got to be truthful with you. I've got to be honest with you. This is the worst mainline Far Cry game. It's not as bad as like Primal or New Dawn or anything, but for like a fully priced, non-DLC Far Cry game, it is the worst Far Cry game, and it's the newest Far Cry game. And I think that just goes to show. Far Cry's formula is done. I knew it was going to be negative towards the end of the video. I didn't expect to be this negative, but it just dawned on me that this really is the worst mainline Far Cry game that's like on PC, not the console stuff. It is crazy that a 2005 game is better than a 2020 game, 2021 game, something like that. That's nuts. That's nuts. And with the budgets they have and the talent they have behind it, I don't understand why it's so bad. I don't get it. Obviously, it's not as bad as Primal, like I just said, so I'm going to give it like a D or a C tier, whatever my tiers are. I don't know if I'll go to F or D. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you understand the basic stuff. So it gets one above the worst possible ranking you can get, okay? Anyway, let's get some more positive vibes going. I really appreciate you watching the video. If you did enjoy it, smash that like button. I really appreciate it. Stick with the Sticky Man by subscribing if you haven't stuck with the Sticky Man already. Thank you all for the support. I'm sure your comments are going to be great on this video as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think about the ranking, where you rank the games, what your favorite Far Cry game is. That'll be really interesting. And yeah, I'm just hoping to get more content out now. I'm really gonna try and push it, because 2 weeks is too long for a video. I think I'm taking too long. I'm being a bit lazy, I think. So let's get on with it. Let's go. So yeah, stick around for more Sticky Man content. I'm gonna make some stuff on movies as well, probably like my top 10 movies or some shit. I don't know, something interesting, something that isn't just one topic. You know what I mean? Just to keep you invested, make you feel like you're not wasting your time watching my stuff. Because sometimes I do feel like I might be wasting your time every now and then. But hey, if I'm not, if you're enjoying it, I'm doing something right. So yeah, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, just have a good rest of your day. Sleep well. And let's all be playing Spider-Man 2 tonight, yeah? Let's all try it if you can afford it. I'm lucky to afford it. In fact, I can't afford it. I wasted money on it and I'm probably going to go broke. But hey, fuck it. Who cares? Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.